Hi, I'm Jason Gary. I'm host of nationally broadcast syndicated radio show Big Pitch Radio and also a veteran of the United States Air Force, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. As we prepare to celebrate Memorial Day tomorrow, I salute all of those who sacrificed their lives, but I don't want us to think that's enough. In fact, I know it's not enough. To designate just one day to remember those who sacrificed their lives so we can enjoy the freedoms that we take for granted, even myself, it just feels a little bit insufficient. Now, I'm not suggesting that we add days to Memorial Day weekend, although I'm sure a lot of people would like that, or that we have additional days throughout the year. But what I am suggesting is that we as Americans take pause to reflect on the great nation it is that we live in and benefit from. The news media has a tendency to deliver content that paints a very grim picture of our country in terms of how we conduct ourselves, treat other nations, and the bad behavior of a few criminals that only really represents a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what this country is really all about. In fact, the word freedom seems like it was defined specifically for our country. The power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Now, as you celebrate Memorial Day, I want to offer you a different perspective than maybe what you hear in the media today. In fact, when I Googled positive statistics about America, I had to go 10 pages deep before I found anything, and I didn't really find that much. That should tell you that if it bleeds, it leads isn't dying anytime soon, so I hope you pass this along. If you can relate to getting sick and tired of everyone banging on this great nation in light of the day that we're about to celebrate and honor tomorrow, I offer you these top 10 reasons Americans should consider themselves very accomplished and why we owe it to every soldier that sacrificed their lives at least 30 minutes to 1 hour out of our day to just think and pause and reflect and remember to say thank you. Number 1, freedom. America has shined as a beacon of freedom in an unfree world for more than 2 centuries. To this day, for instance, most people living outside our borders reside in countries where the private practice of broadcast journalism is illegal and where the state is the dominant banker. Number 2, democracy. More than 215 years after the Constitutional Convention, most people on the planet still do not have the right to vote. Every Arab country, more than 3/4 of African nations, and many of the most populous nations in the Orient still deny their citizens the right to choose their own leaders. Number 3, medicine. This year, like 45 of the last 60 years, an American won a share of the Nobel Prize in the field of medicine. Americans cured polio and tuberculosis, developed vaccines for hepatitis B and yellow fever, pioneered modern chemotherapy, and produced the CAT scan and the MRI. What's there to hate about that? Number 4, enlightened power. America is an historical curiosity. It is the most powerful country in the world, yet it eschews imperialism. Instead, it has used its military might to liberate. Nazi Germany, North Korea, Soviet Russia, Hussein's Iraq, and communist Vietnam are among the nefarious states we sought to prevent from increasing their totalitarian control over others. Number 5, human achievement. Americans have stretched the bounds of the possible. The first transatlantic flight, putting a man on the moon, breaking the speed of sound, constructing the Hoover Dam, and building the Panama Canal serve as a testimony to American courage and ingenuity. Number 6, generosity. With great wealth comes great generosity. In 2000, Americans gave more than $200 billion in charity, dwarfing the amount donated elsewhere. Since World War II, the U.S. government has given well in excess of $500 billion, not adjusted for inflation, in foreign aid. Last year, our government distributed more than $20 billion to 130 countries. Now, while American taxpayers have the right to gripe, what are we really to make of foreign beneficiaries who return our favor to them by burning U.S. flags and chanting death to America? Number 7, creating wealth. America is the sun around which the world economy revolves. The typical creator of wealth in the world is an American. Foreigners benefit from buying better products from American companies and working better jobs manufacturing such products. Take America's $9 trillion economy out of the picture, and the economic well-being of the rest of the world nosedives. Number 8, technology. Nothing disproves the leftist mantra that all cultures are equal more than technology does. Americans have given the world motion pictures, the telephone, the television, the computer, the internet, the airplane, the VCR, and a host of other machines and devices that have vastly improved the quality of life on the planet. Ironically, the terrorists who hate the U.S. give America a tacit endorsement every time they turn on a light, escape the heat through air conditioning, monitor their exploits on television or the internet, or communicate via telephone. Number 9, immigration. During the 100 years ending in 1920s, a majority of the world's immigrants came to one country, one lone country, the United States. Today, the U.S. takes in more immigrants than at any other point in history. Yet the left portrays America as bastion of xenophobia and bigotry. Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of the Treasury. John Jacob Astor, America's first multimillionaire. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. Louis B. Mayer, Hollywood pioneer. Selman Waxman cured tuberculosis. Ralph Baer invented the video game. These are among the immigrants to America whose lives belie the left's premise. Just as those who complain about oppression in the U.S. would never entertain the idea of living anywhere else, the people around the world we allegedly oppress flock to come here. Now, this contradiction between leftist theory and the real world practice clearly illustrates just how delusional the central tenets of leftist thoughts really are. Last but not least, entertainment. Number 10. The movies the world watches, the television shows they tune into, and the music they listen to are, for the most part, produced in the United States. For instance, the U.S. exports more than 25 times the number of movies and television shows than it consumes from abroad. A fact that causes Ben Wattenberg to observe quite correctly that America is the most culturally potent nation in the world. Even the virulent America hater Saddam Hussein reportedly spent a good portion of his time watching American-made movies such as The Godfather and Enemy of the State. Now, rather than turning this into some debate or negative post that turns political in nature, what I would highly encourage all of us to do is set our differences aside. Make this about those who lost their lives and made the biggest sacrifice. This, I might suggest, is a call to action. That each day we navigate through our busy days, get caught up in our self-pursuits, and find ourselves wandering through our lives and through our world. And when we wonder, who do we owe all of these wonderful events, character traits, technological conveniences, medical breakthroughs, entertainment joys, kind-spirited gestures, vast economic opportunities, and most importantly, the freedom that I'm using right now to post a message like the one that you are viewing. Hands down, we owe it to the very brave men and women who sacrificed their lives to pave the way so all of us and all of these achievements could occur, and the narrative of this great nation could and will continue to be written in such a way that makes me, as a veteran, proud to say, I am proud to be an American. And I love those who say the same thing. So to you, fallen soldiers, to you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And God bless.